as you can see, here's the current stock shifter, and I'll show you what we have here. First of all, this whole thing moves up and down like an inch or 2 inches. It's not right at all. It's not supposed to do that. And then when you push it in, put it in gear, the back and forth movement, it moves a little more than it should, but side to side it moves quite a bit as well. So it's not supposed to do that much. So it's really difficult, you know, when you're trying to shift really fast to find the right gear, because you're just sort of moving around, and then the transmission itself moves side to side. So where third gear is one time, it might be over here, or it might be over here, depending on what kind of loads are on the engine. So hopefully after we get all this stuff replaced, this will be a lot tighter and a lot easier to find the right gear, and it won't have any misshifts and mess up the engine. So that's what we have to start with. Okay, so we're back. So you saw the problems with the car that I wanted to deal with, and to start off with, the first thing we have are some UUC Motorworks transmission bushings. These are polyurethane bushings that replace the rubber bushings that hold the transmission in. This is one thing that causes misshifts, is the transmission moves around a lot under braking or under hard cornering and whatnot, and you go to shift gears and the transmission is moved and it's hard to find the right gear. So these help hold things in place really solidly, and they don't break down like the rubber ones do and crack. So got these. Next up we have the short shifter from eBay. This is just a cheap $50 eBay short shifter from China. It seems like a pretty well made unit. It's very solid feeling, and it was very affordable to get. Not much to say about this really. It's the short shifter, eBay. Next thing we got is from Turner Motorsports. This is their Darlin bushings, shifter bushings. These go in the front of the shifter here. Get one here like this. And then the pin goes through. This supposedly makes things really solid and makes the shifting more precise. Normally there would be a rubber bushing in here that has a little bit of flex in it, so this gets rid of that. And also, like the transmission bushings, these hold up longer than the rubber ones. So that's a nice upgrade. Last thing we got here are just some various stock bushings and clips and pins and whatnot that are needed in the shifting mechanism. They do sell a kit that has every single possible item you could need. They're about $80, but I just went underneath the car and evaluated what I had and decided what I needed and what I didn't need. There would have been a lot of redundancy if I would have ordered the whole kit. Like, it would have came with this bushing here and some other stuff, and you know, the bushing for this that I bought this for, and it would have just been some unnecessary spending going on. So I'm trying to keep it under a budget, and so that's why I just bought just the necessary parts I needed. And so let's head out to the car and install this stuff. Okay, so you can see here we have the two pieces that we had to completely remove in order to do the short shifter install. Is the mid pipe with the cats has to be removed, and this heat shield that's just above the mid pipe has to be removed. They're not too difficult to get out of there once you get the car up off the ground, you know, a foot or so. Okay, so underneath the car, the other things that need to be done is go ahead and remove your transmission cross brace, and before you do that, of course, put a jack under the transmission to give it some support. You may also want to loosen your center support bearing right there, give you some extra room, and once you get the cross brace out of here, you can go ahead and pull this down a bit. It'll give you more room to work on things with the shifter. So this front bushing up here, I got the new stuff in here already. This clip up here flips up like, goes up like this and then out. So you want to sort of get something up here to pry this up. On the back side of it, there is a little tab that locks in, so it's pretty tricky to get up in there. You just want to get a bunch of different screwdrivers and whatnot till you find something that can get up there and pry the front of that clip up. It'll swing up, and then you can be able to pull it straight out. As you see, I have the Darlin bushing, shifter bushings up here in the front. And this rear thing, it's quite tricky. You're just gonna, these those tabs sort of hook into holes in the side of that bushing, and you want to kind of get a screwdriver in here and pry this out and down to get these out of here, to get that drop down. So that's pretty much it for getting the short shifter in there. The next thing we have to do is this the lower bar here and its bushings and clips. So, but as you see, I left the drive shaft in place. Makes it a little more difficult, but working with this guibo is pretty tricky. It's a pain in the ass. So if you have to do a guibo, now's the time to do it. But if you don't, you can do the short shifter without taking it out of there. Okay, so as you see, we have this lower rod installed. It's got a yellow bushing on either side of the bars that pass through the shifter and the transmission, and then a clip on the outside here that just snaps on, and that's pretty much all there is to it. The shifter's in place. This shifter, this Chinese shifter, was not right when I first put it in. I had to bend it more towards the back and also bend it more towards the driver. Not sure why that was, but just be forewarned, if you do buy one of these, it might require some tweaking. But if you have a bench vise and some sort of bar you can put over the end of the shifter to add some leverage, it can be tweaked into place. I guess you get what you pay for when you buy a $50 short shifter. But that's pretty much everything. Got some UUC transmission mounts in here, and gonna go ahead and bolt this heat shield back on and the exhaust, and we'll be ready to go. So that's the E36 short shifter install. Okay, so here is the finished project, pretty much. I got this different shift knob on here, which I don't like, which I'm going to go back to the other one, but shifter is a lot better. It's really nice and notchy and positive feeling, and you can really feel where the gears are, so it's happy with the upgrade. You see the front to back motion is significantly reduced. That's mostly due to the Darlin bushings, I would imagine, and also the side to side, it's a little bit better. It's not great. The main problem that needs to be solved with fixing this is the Shift Selector Rod, which is the lower shift rod with the clips I was showing there. There is an upgrade to that basically gives it support on both sides instead of just one side, and it's supposed to tighten this up a lot more and make it a lot more a lot better. But that's another $130 just for that part, just for that one part. So I'm gonna wait on that for a while until I get some other things done. The up and down is gone. You know, it's nice and tight feeling. The shift bushings I put in, or the transmission bushings I put in, are really great, and I'm very happy with how this project turned out. It was, you know, a couple hours of hard work, but it's done, and it should be good and solid for a good long while I get some other stuff done on the car. And it's a lot nicer to drive now. And so that's the short shifter upgrade for E36.